Hey everyone, it's your boy D Black. All right, welcome to the channel. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and leave a comment. And as you know, I'm coming to you raw and uncut. Okay, Raw tonight. Raw was, it was pretty interesting, I guess. Um, it kind of had a little pick me up, and then it went dry. It went dry until the end of the show. I mean, it was the promo between CM Punk and Roman Reigns was classic. And if we got that every week, oh my word, wrestling would be wrestling. But we'll get to that, as we get to, that segment and stuff. But anyway, start off with Bron Breaker. He's coming down to the ring. He's just tearing up stuff, just destroying everything. Tearing up the announcers table, coming out, just mad and stuff. And then you get some of the guys from the Vision to come out. You try to calm them down and everything. Bron Breaker is calling out Adam Pearce and stuff. Blaming him, for what happened at the Royal Rumble when whoever it was that came out in the blackness and the black hoodie, stomped him, and then he got, put out the match with a clothesline by Omer Femi and stuff. And then he's just going just absolutely crazy. And then Paul Heyman gets on the mic and he starts talking crap and everything, blaming Adam Pearce and stuff like that. And then Adam Pearce is like saying, hey, look, you kind of guys brought that on yourselves or whatever the case may be, knowing that Bron Breaker came and he picked his own number and he drew number 2. I mean, that's nobody else's problem except for theirs. You can't help what you pull and stuff. So they got mad about that, and that's why everything unfolded and stuff. And then about whoever was in the black outfit, they say, hey, look, I guess Adam Pearce was trying to, put the direction on Austin Theory. And everybody turned around and Bron Breaker was looking at Austin Theory. But I don't know if that's who that was in that, the black hoodie or not. So I'm not going to speculate. I know it probably wasn't Roman Reigns. I mean, not Roman Reigns, but Seth Rollins. So go back to try to figure who that was and everything. But anyway, during that, LA Knight's music starts playing. So they start rolling up the alley, and then he comes in the back end and he starts attacking them and stuff. And, he brings in the chair, and then they all, fleet and everything like that. And then Bron Breaker comes and he looks Paul Heyman in the face and he asks Paul Heyman, what are they doing? He said it twice. What are they doing? And then he walks off and stuff. I guess he's trying to say, like, why they in the position that they're in, why things are acting, coming out, how it's happening and stuff like that, because it's looking bad. Because if he's saying that, these guys on the Vision are the future of the company and stuff, they're looking pretty sad right about now and stuff. They're looking real sad right now. So then we get this match with Javon Evans and El Grande Americano. This match, I mean, it was okay. Javon Evans, he's going to do what he does, even coming off out of the Royal Rumble, with a bad shoulder and stuff like that, some bruising and stuff. El Grande, took him to his limits, it's kind of back and forth and stuff like that. And then you knew that the Bravo and the other one was going to get involved in the match and stuff. And as they were getting involved in the match, then, Chad Gable, the original El Grande Americano, comes out and everything. And all the distraction and everything leads Javon Evans to put his finishing move on El Grande Americano and win the match. So Javon was that with some, help. Well, not even help from the original El Grande Americano, which is Chad Gable. But anyway, that's how that match went. And then you get AJ Styles music. Everybody's fired up, and everything, and people probably in their first minds thinking that, hey, that's why his music playing, and he got retired and stuff like that. And then out comes Gunther. Out, out pops Gunther. That and I figured that he come out saying what he said about you know John Cena and Goldberg and stuff like that, but he never got a chance because Dragon Lee came out and he attacks Gunther. And I mean, he got Gunther he got Gunther pretty good until Gunther turned it around and then started beating the tar out of doggone Dragon Lee, and then he choked him. I mean, when he choked him, he choked him, choked him. Choked him like he went to sleep. He went to sleep, and it was, oh man, it was crazy. Yeah, it was crazy. Wow. So, and then after that, you got Paul Heyman with Adam Pearce again, and Paul telling Adam Pearce, to make the match against LA Knight and Bron Breaker. He wanted that match tonight, but then Adam Pearce, tells Paul Heyman that, LA Knight is gone, and then in his best interest that he would make sure that Bron Breaker would be gone and stuff and everything. So they're still trying to blame, Adam Pearce, for all this other stuff like that. And then Paul Heyman looks at Adam Pearce and he says, "Do you know what city we're in?" And then they just pan off. And then we get Bron Breaker. Well, Bron Breaker's still going off in backstage and stuff like that. Bron Breaker's just still flipping and mad and everything. And, Paul was able to get him to kind of calm down and everything. And then he left. And then we got the War Raiders in the ring. And Omer Femi, his music started coming on and stuff. So you figure like, okay, he's going to have a, tag match with somebody. Who's going to be his tag team partner? And stuff like that. But boy, Omer Femi came down there and he destroyed the Road Raiders. I mean, how is that possible? The Road Raiders are, they've been multiple tag team champions and stuff. I think they've had the titles. I think they held the titles like maybe 4 times as tag team champions and stuff. But Omer Femi, he just destroyed them. I mean, he destroyed them. It was crazy and stuff, So, wow, man. And so then you got, the little segment about, Finn Balor and stuff like that. And I can understand Finn Balor saying, him being frustrated with Adam Pearce, especially telling him that there was all the positions of the Royal Rumble were taken, but yet Damian Priest was able to get a spot in and everything. And then you had the Green Iguana and Vaquer in there. I mean, they could have had Finn Balor in that match and stuff. They didn't have to have either one of them two, like Vaquer or Mr. Iguana in that. I mean, it was crazy and stuff. Finn Balor could have, maybe not win, but at least be in there, give the man a shot, at least to be on that PLE and stuff. And then you got Nikki and Brie Bella, really not saying much of anything and stuff because that was pretty dry and everything. I guess they just announced themselves as a tag team and that they were going to be coming after the, tag team championships, so we'll see what happens on that. And then you got the Sour Otis, talking about, the tag team, their tag team and how they're going to be going against Usos and stuff, and that they were going to beat Usos. And then Maxine comes out and she's talking about the match that she's going to have with Natty, and that she's going to break Natty's ankle and stuff like that. So we'll see what happens with all that. Then we get Pinter versus Bronson Reed. And Bronson Reed basically 90% of this match was destroying Pinter. Pinter got some good stuff in and everything and stuff like that. But you get some interference with the other two rascal nascals. Austin Theory and Logan Paul trying to interfere And all of a sudden, out comes LA Knight again. He attacks Bronson Reed. He gives him BFT on the chair and stuff like that. And then Austin Theory and Logan Paul, they chase him away and stuff. Then the referee starts to count and stuff like that. And then Bronson Reed gets counted out. Pinter wins on the count out and stuff. And then all of a sudden we come out with Dirty Dom. So Dirty Dom is back from his injury. So hopefully we'll be seeing him back in the ring. He's hated as always and stuff like that. I think he's probably the biggest heel right now. Getting booed and stuff, but I'm glad he's okay to be, well enough to come back. Hopefully we'll see him in the ring soon. But then he's coming out to introduce Liv Morgan because she did win the Royal Rumble, And then Liv comes and she starts, talking. She's happy that she won the Royal Rumble and everything and stuff like that, and they start talking about Raquel Rodreguez and stuff. So she brings out Raquel Rodreguez. She comes out and Raquel Rodreguez is asking the questions why, did Liv eliminate her at the Royal Rumble. And Liv was basically saying, I think what everybody else is thinking is like, look, you're fighting Stephenie for a title match. If you win the title match and everything, you're a champion. Why not Liv, choose, the other champion? Or she could choose the winner of you and Stephenie Vaquer and stuff. But, so that's basically how that went and stuff. Then for the match, Raquel basically tells Liv, to stay backstage. She doesn't need her help and everything with the match that she's going to have with Stephenie Vaquer for, the women's title and everything. Liv says, okay, cool. And she walks, her and Dom, they walk off. And then you get the match with Raquel Rodreguez and Stephenie Vaquer for the women's championship. The match was pretty good. It was a Philadelphia street fight, and they did everything that they needed to do. They brought the weapons in, they brought the chairs in, got the stairs, involved. There was some, kendo sticks. I mean, it was what the match was supposed to be. I mean, there was a couple of match, blocks, spots and stuff like that, especially when Raquel came off the came off the rope and she was supposed to go through the table, but she actually rolled off the table and stuff. But anyway, I mean, yeah, for that and everything, I guess it was an okay match. Liv comes out to try to help. Stephenie tries to throw the belt in and everything and stuff, and it didn't turn out well. Yeah, it just didn't turn out well. And Stephenie Vaquer ends up winning the match. So, in all, Liv Morgan got involved in the match where she was told not to get involved. So I'm sure there's going to be some stuff between her and Raquel Rodreguez, down the road and stuff. I'm sure there's going to be some more words said down the road with the Judgment Day. So it's looking kind of crazy for them and stuff. But anyway, please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and leave a comment. Then we get the Roman Reigns promo. All right. He was letting the, people in Philadelphia know that was the place that he, won his first title, and that was the place where he lost the title and everything. And then he was saying that he had a dilemma, picking and choosing on who he wanted to pick out of CM Punk and Drew McIntyre and stuff, And then all of a sudden, here comes CM Punk. He's coming out, and then CM Punk does something kind of crazy. He goes to the camera and starts talking about Finn Balor and said, about how Finn Balor did him, and then what he's going to do to Finn Balor when he, sees Finn Balor again and stuff like that. And Roman Reigns basically said, hey, you come out to interrupt my, my promo, my interview and stuff. Talking about Finn Balor, what's wrong with you? And then they started going into this. Oh, man, it was so good. I thought they were from the battle, but CM Punk, was telling Roman Reigns about, how he heard what he said on the McAfee show, and then telling Roman Reigns if it wasn't for him, bringing him and I can't even think right now. The group that he was in was Seth Rollins. Oh man, where's my brain? But anyway, so Roman gets up there and he tells CM Punk about how what happened with the wise man and how CM Punk betrayed him and stuff like that and turned his back on him and everything like that. And then he goes off to saying, hey, look, he tells CM Punk that, hey, he could pick him because he's one of the biggest stars, available in the WWE. He said he could pick him because, he's on Netflix, which is the, head show and stuff. That WWE, the Raw is going to be now branded as the head brand and stuff. But he said none of that. It wasn't any of that. He said he's picking doggone CM Punk because he hates CM Punk. Then he's saying in the main event at WrestleMania, CM Punk will acknowledge him. And I think that's how it's going to happen. CM Punk will lose to Roman Reigns at WrestleMania and stuff. And I kind of like how the storyline is going and stuff because now they can go back to where they were betrayed, where he was betrayed, had to do with CM Punk, with the Roman Reigns and the favorite thing and stuff like that. So yeah, I can understand that, and it's pretty good, and they're building up to that. There's something big coming else behind that, but if we can get promos the way that CM Punk and Roman Reigns delivered this promo, excuse me, this show would be okay. Because now I'm waiting on the next segment of what's going to happen between these two. It gets you kind of excited. Everything is not getting you like that here, in the with the WWE. They're just oh man. Hopefully this is something that's going to happen with everybody, but I doubt it. But you got two of the best at it and stuff, so there's going to be some stuff kicking down the road. I can't wait. This is good. The show itself, though, it was dry. It kind of sucked, but this promo, Roman Reigns and CM Punk, it was on point. And I say out of 10, 0 out of 10, I give it just because of the promo. I'm going to give it a 5. Yeah. So, but other than that, please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, leave a comment. Let me know how you're feeling. Thank you for watching. God bless. Deuces, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you.